members of the National Press Club, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor for me to be here to address you on the issues that we have to deal with, not only in Angola, but in Southern Africa. First of all, I want to say that when we arrived here on Tuesday, we were grieved with the explosion of the shuttle, and we were saddened. And everybody that we met, we extend to them our sympathy. I came here first to thank those friends who have worked so hard to get the Clark Amendment repealed, because the Clark Amendment has given in 1976 a green light to the Soviet Union to dominate our country. Second, even if the Clark Amendment is repealed, if it is not followed by action, this I mean aid, then we cannot change the scene. So I came here to plead with the administration, with the Congress, with the American public to support our struggle. I have been in the struggle for 28 years now, 15 years against Portuguese colonialism, 10 years now against Russian aggression. All that we want is our people to have a say in the affairs of their own country. When in 1975, the Portuguese, after a coup, they have decided to grant independence to the former Portuguese colonies, they found it very easy to hand over power to Mozambique, to one party, which is Frelimo. The same in São Tomé and Príncipe. The same to Cabo Verde Island, the same to the Guinea-Bissau. But for Angola, the Portuguese, they found that problem was so complicated because we had 3 liberation movements that only elections could decide which group was more popular, and then from the vote, that most voted party could decide to make or not a coalition. We still stand for that. We want that our people must be given a chance to elect those that must govern them. We had a transitional government which worked well. Only the intervention of 12,000 Cubans has stopped the government to function. People, they will say, but now you are getting support from South Africa. When you fight a war, you get support from wherever it comes. But also, I'm not only getting support from South Africa, I'm getting support from many black independent African countries. All the gentlemen you are seeing here who accompany me, we are traveling on diplomatic passports of several African countries. No one of us has a South African passport. Because I think that's the main issue that we want to deal with. Do we in UNITA condone apartheid? No. How, as a black man, a black leader, can I accept the apartheid? No. And I think apartheid is being dismantled at home and abroad. But the choice of saying, let us first to deal with apartheid, then next we deal with the Soviet expansionism, is agreeable. To my mind, is not. Because if we find it wrong, the white South Africans to deny opportunity to black people in South Africa, so they have to work so that they will be able all groups in South Africa to work together and to shape their own destiny. It is also not right, we condemn it, that white Cubans, white Russians, they have to dominate, to oppress, to kill the indigenous people from Angola. Furthermore, does South Africa has any possibility of expansion? On my own understanding, no. But the Soviet Union is the most important empire at this time in the world. And Gorbachev, since he came to power, we saw him acting more aggressively against the Afghans, against the Cambodians, against the Eritreans, and against us. If you set your priority that first is apartheid, then it is the Cubans and the Russians in Angola. You may get them in the Cape, it will be too late. And I don't think it is in the best interest of the United States to lose that strategic area, the control of the oceans, the access to the strategic minerals. Again, what the Russians have been doing is every time, everywhere, to further their interests. What's the behavior of the government in Rwanda? One, in 1980, when Russia has invaded Afghanistan, they supported it at the United Nations. Second, when the South Korean airlines were shut down, the MPLA supported it. Third, when there was a movement to boycott the Olympic Games here in Los Angeles, the MPLA supported it. Then I don't think, because of the Gulf oil, you can forget where your own interests are. People are saying that I was trained in China. Yes. In the 60s, the African independent countries had no experience of training others. So they have advised us to go where we could get training. And it's still my deep philosophy. I think no leader has a right to send his followers to fight and die and themselves trying to spare their lives. If your ancestors, George Washington, Samuel Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and others, if they went all to Paris along with Benjamin Franklin, and nobody was here to conduct the war, I don't think that he could have succeeded. Anyone who wants to lead his people for freedom, he has to take the risks. Freedom means risks. It is why, but I had to go wherever I could get the training and then be able to lead my people. Since 1966, I have been leading my people from within, not from outside. I had never had a base in Lusaka, in Kinshasa, in Pretoria, and I don't intend to have any. Again, you are asking me why you come to ask our money. I think we are facing tremendous odds. 45,000 Cubans, 1,500 Russians, 2,000 North Koreans, 2,500 East Germans, a small country like Angola, 200 jet fighters, 160 helicopters, 100 transport planes. I think we need your support. And American people is a generous people. American people stand. And in your freedom also, when you fought for your freedom, people like France have extended support to you. Benjamin Franklin arrived in Paris earlier December 1776. I have to say that I was honored to be received by President Reagan, who is a warm person. I had a long discussion with the Secretary of State, Mr. Schultz, went on very well. Jonas Savimbi is me. My father was not only a railway man, he was a Protestant minister. And from my early days, he told me that we should fight to be independent. At first, he thought that the black Americans will come to deliver us from Portuguese bondage. But in 1945, he said, no, you have to do it yourself. Go to school. I fought. In 1973, my father died in jail under Portuguese colonial rule. I am in the bush with my mother, who is 86, and she's still with me. He believes in what I'm doing. Thank you. I am open to your questions.
The first questioner actually is a two-part question. Do you support President Reagan's policy of constructive engagement with South Africa? And secondly, should the United States get tougher with South Africa?
One, we have to get a correct interpretation of the constructive engagement. And I think I'm not going to disclose my discussions with officials, but what we want is that solving the problem of Southern Africa, where the trading is Cuban withdrawal for Namibia independence, has been tried for 5 years without result. Two remarks. One, you can negotiate only successfully if you do it from a strong position. It is why we lost 5 years. Second, UNITA has to be part of the package. This is what I'm discussing here. They have to talk independence of Namibia, reconciliation in Angola, and the withdrawal for the Cubans. Then I think there we will be in total agreement with that one. To be tougher with South Africa or not, I think the position is that you, the Americans, are the people who can help the South Africans, because you had the same problem here when the civil rights were fighting for their own position. I think you understand it much better. But the blacks here were in minority and the whites in majority. But it took you some time. I think that you have a very good advice to give South Africans. In South Africa, the whites are in minority and the blacks in majority. I think there are fears. I saw a very wise head of state, African head of state, before I came, and he told me, President Reagan should help us to reach two things: to kill the illusions of the Russians and the Cubans that in Angola a military option is an option at all, so that we kill the fears of the white people in South Africa, that if they work with the other black people, they may be drawn to the sea. Then I think these are the two things we have to do, and they are complementary.
Several questions deal with the Gulf oil operations in Angola. This person wants to know, seeing that Gulf Oil provides such a major financial role in supporting the MPLA government, what is your attitude toward the company? Do you regard the Gulf installations as valid military targets?
One, we have to make a distinction about the American citizens working there. So we have to do all we can so that American lives are not endangered. Secondly, we have to state it in very clear and firm terms. It is the money of Gulf Oil which is making the Cubans going. The Cubans and the Russians, they are killing indigenous people of our country because they are getting money from the Gulf. I think it's wrong. It's moral wrong, and also in the terms of helping the Russians with the money of the Americans, I think it's unacceptable.